The waiter ambled towards her table, cradling the ring with the same care as an executioner his blade. All the while I observed her from a distance, my composure unexpectedly tranquil. The restaurant buzzed with merriment and tinkling glasses, but to me it felt like a pause in time upon witnessing the stunned expression on his face. Initially, she caught sight of me peripherally, then focused on the ring he offered her. Her eyes expanded, and in that moment I was certain she comprehended. That wedding ring wasn't merely an ornament. It was a mute declaration that I was privy to all secrets. It served as a warning that our union was at an end. For months, I had been a bystander to a performance where I alone remained unaware of the plot. Incessant outings, phone messages devoid of obvious work-related content, furtive giggles under cover of darkness, as if each chuckle were a silent indiscretion. I observed every nuance. Still, I persisted, feigning indifference while waiting for her to speak up, to confess or offer some explanation, no matter how untrue, to spare me the effort of piecing things together. But she never did. Instead, I found myself ensnared in a game I no longer wished to play but couldn't escape. I vowed to make her experience the pain of betrayal in full view of everyone, particularly the one she considered true happiness. It wasn't merely bruised pride or lost love. It was the shattering of trust, cast off like discarded paper. To this day, I can recall our first encounter, how she giggled at my feeble jokes and held my hand as if we were forever intertwined. Those memories once brought me comfort, but now they seared like embers, consuming everything in their path. In the recesses of my mind, I thought back to that prenuptial agreement, the signed document from years past, now seeming like a sudden salvation. She would forfeit everything, all the deceits, infidelities, falsehoods he had enacted. This wasn't the consequence she had envisioned when she embarked upon that sordid endeavor. The waiter eventually approached the table. I observed her partner, carefree and jovial, blissfully unaware of the impending event. She glanced up, and it was at this instant she comprehended I was there, witnessing every second, every emotion, with a look she had never witnessed before. The smile faded from her face as swiftly as a quenched flame, giving way to an expression of sheer terror. She understood that the weight of their partnership was not merely the agony of the separation, but a foreshadowing of the harsh truth that loomed, the dreadful reality she had long feared. And this was all she could manage to utter, her voice trembling as tears filled her eyes, a concoction of shock and supplication. Perplexed, the lover glanced back and forth, struggling to comprehend, but unable to assemble the puzzle fragments I alone had fitted together. I suppressed a chuckle at the irony, standing steadfast, immovable. It was a silence that spoke volumes louder than words. I wasn't there for debates, for clarifications. The dialogue had ended. My alliance was the last word, the concluding point of a tale she herself had chosen to conclude. As I exited the restaurant, I allowed their gazes to trail me, feeling the burden of judgment, but I paid it no mind. All I sought was confirmation that she acknowledged her loss. She had forsaken our past, our chronicle, for a brittle and hollow delusion, now left with nothing but her own remorse. The subsequent action, which she couldn't fathom yet, was in motion, the final piece that would strip her of what remained, the material wealth she believed rightfully belonged to her. Scarcely did she realize that every penny, every asset, was securely safeguarded. I wouldn't allow her to depart with anything, much like she left me empty-handed when she chose to deceive me. As I walked off, I imagined the surprise she would feel upon discovering the stipulation. That night, what she was unaware of, but would soon find out, is that betrayal, aside from devastating our bond, would also strip her of everything she took for granted. Welcome to the channel. Here, there's no place for justifying betrayals. Each narrative shared is fictional, yet it embodies a truth. Betrayal is a toxin that shatters lives, disintegrates relationships, and leaves indelible marks. Prepare yourself for a gripping tale, where each action has its repercussions. Fasten your headset and plunge into a network of secrets and startling disclosures. A compelling story lies ahead. Adam Turner sincerely believed that he had found his soulmate in Laura. They crossed paths at a party during their final year of college, and it seemed as though time itself had paused to let them meet. Laura was captivating with her effortless smile, and her enchanting lightness. A gifted artist, Laura was passionate and poured intensity into every stroke, whether blending colors or speaking each word. In contrast, Adam was pragmatic and focused on his business endeavors, possessing a tranquil and contemplative nature that contributed to their harmonious relationship's durability over the years. For many years, Adam and Laura's marriage stood as the bond between two individuals seemingly meant for each other. Spontaneous adventures and lengthy discussions into the wee hours strengthened their connection. Adam believed he had found in Laura the ideal partner to share his life with. He was proud of his accomplished career, yet it was with Laura that he divulged his deepest dreams. They jointly purchased a house, meticulously restoring each detail from wall colors to carefully selected garden flowers, which mirrored both personalities. However, time brought alterations. Restless by nature, Laura broadened her social sphere, aiming to develop as an artist and seeking more engagement and acknowledgement. This development led to an uptick in nightly outings and cultural activities, which made Adam uneasy. Despite his discomfort, he attributed it to a phase of self-exploration that everyone was entitled to undergo. As the years progressed, Adam found solace in work, viewing it as crucial for their stability. He upheld the balance they had cultivated and went out of his way to create memorable moments with dinners, brief trips, and thoughtful surprises. However, Laura appeared distant at times, her thoughts seeming to wander elsewhere, as if she were absent. Adam observed these instances of detachment, but chose to interpret them as mere fatigue or a need for personal space. Adam held firm faith in Laura, yet, much like any individual, he was vulnerable to the uncertainties born out of daily life. Occasionally, when Laura showed signs of reserve, a flicker of doubt would surge within him, though it never lasted long. He would recall their bond, which thrived on trust and affection, serving as a bulwark against all apprehensions. The dwelling they had constructed, filled with recollections and aspirations, now echoed with a different ambience, subtly discernible yet indisputable. Profound discussions were replaced by brief exchanges, and the gaps in their dialogue grew longer. At some point, Adam pondered over when things took a turn, but he could never definitively identify a single instance. The evolution, like decay, had been gradual, a slight deviation on a path that once appeared so straightforward. One evening, Laura returned home later than normal from a gallery displaying her artwork. Adam sat in the living room, holding a glass of wine and appearing weary yet inviting, while Laura entered, her bag dropping to the floor as she sighed heavily. Adam attempted to ease the tension by discussing the exhibition and asking about her night, but Laura offered brief, disjointed replies. Adam persisted with his questions, inquiring if everything was all right, hoping for a connection. However, Laura paused before responding, a behavior Adam had seldom seen before. "Yes, it was a good night," she replied, avoiding eye contact. Despite sensing something amiss, Adam didn't probe further, aware that pushing her would only lead to more withdrawal. Yet, the unease between them grew steadily. In this silence, he could feel an unseen wall dividing them, a barrier that left him uncertain about how to bridge it. Amidst his reservations, Adam endeavored to keep peace and recollected their shared intimacies as an attempt to mend what seemed to be unraveling between them. Each memory served as a means to rebuild. He continued to cherish her, but he fretted that his affection would dissolve like grains of sand slipping away, disintegrating without any way for him to halt it. Laura, conversely, found herself immersed in her own realm, her yearning to broaden her artistic horizons and the novel individuals she encountered within art circles. She was captivated by the allure of freedom's potential. Laura still harbored affection for Adam, yet she felt a transformation within herself. The assurance he provided no longer sufficed. She craved something elusive that she couldn't even articulate. Over time, subtle actions and glances hinted at this quiet estrangement. Adam observed her with the perseverance of one waiting for her to rediscover herself, believing that this separation was merely a transient phase. Anticipated her returning to the woman from his past, the one who had shared his cherished memories. However, when their gazes locked, he recognized the woman he adored, yet it came with a growing sense of apprehension. The strain between them was faint, but palpable, like a creeping darkness threatening their bond. When solitude enveloped him, Adam often pondered over the choices they'd made and paths taken, questioning if things could have been otherwise. A wistful longing for the future they'd envisioned together gnawed at him, as if it was slipping through his fingers. Yet he harbored hope, convinced that with time and perseverance they could conquer any hurdle. He recognized that Laura was intricate, prone to periods of introspection to find herself again. Adam doubted whether this time Laura would return to him, something he dreaded discovering. Despite telling himself their relationship was merely passing through a tough patch, he believed they'd emerge stronger on the other side. He recognized that Laura, with her zest for life and ambitions, always found solace in the artistic realm, which was an integral part of her identity. However, over time, he sensed a change. Her absences grew more frequent, her replies became enigmatic, and even their casual meetings seemed staged, as if she was physically present but emotionally distant. Whenever I attempted to engage with her, I received evasive or disengaged responses. He felt as though, instead of being next to her, he was always a few meters away, straining to reach her. One evening, Laura showed up late, emanating a scent that wasn't hers. She walked into the house, weary yet not from work, lacking the radiance usually associated with a taxing day. Adam observed her silently as she removed her shoes and ascended the stairs without uttering a word. He stayed put in the living room, listening to her steps that faded upstairs, leaving behind a deeper, more troubling hush in the house. That night marked a turning point for Adam. He could no longer suppress his disquiet, could no longer feign ignorance of the expanding void between them. The following day, moved by instinct, Adam made an uncharacteristic decision. After years of marriage, he took her phone. His heart pounded as he hesitated, feeling like he was trespassing on the privacy of someone he cherished, but a stronger impulse propelled him. He knew that if he remained in the shadows, this void would swallow him whole. Upon unlocking the phone, he discovered a consistent flow of messages and calls from an unfamiliar number. Adam's formerly logical mind started to whirl towards an unforeseen scenario. Instead of immediately challenging her, he meticulously observed her actions. The schedules, the flimsy excuses, the art events, and spontaneous outings were noted down, a quest for solid evidence that substantiated his suspicions. Beneath it all, he yearned to be wrong, clinging to the hope that the issue was a mere product of his overactive imagination, possibly exhaustion skewing his view of reality. A few days hence, when Laura claimed to be at another event, Adam chose to investigate. He ventured to the gallery she had mentioned, only to find it deserted and inactive. The revelation struck him like a frigid gust, a tacit admission that something was drastically amiss. His heart pounded, and despair and disbelief filled his body. In that instant, it struck him. Perhaps reversing his steps was no longer an option. That evening, determined to uncover the truth, Adam arrived home. Every subtle omission and cryptic glance from Laura now fitted into a disquieting jigsaw, prompting him to confront deceit if it existed. On a bright Saturday morning, as Laura prepared for another exhibition, Adam stood silently, seeming to bid farewell to a treasured past. Her voice, cheerful and detached, served as the final confirmation that something profound had shifted between them. After her departure, he took the car and trailed her, maintaining a safe distance. The discomfort in his chest was almost intolerable, and his stomach sank with every mile they traveled. Following approximately 30 minutes, he spotted her halt before an isolated restaurant, far removed from city center. She exited the vehicle, smoothing her hair and flashing a smile Adam hadn't witnessed for some time. Then he spotted him, the man who was casually awaiting her, flashing a nonchalant grin devoid of any remorse or apprehension. They exchanged a brief, intimate kiss, giving Adam the confirmation he had dreaded. He continued to stay in the car, his knuckles white on the steering wheel, as he watched them enter the restaurant like an ordinary pair, with not a trace of regret. He felt a combination of pain and disbelief, as if the ground beneath him had disappeared. He pondered over how someone he had shared a life with could simply erase everything, acting as though he had never existed. It was as though the love they had cultivated together vanished without warning, without him even getting a chance to defend it. As the restaurant hustle and bustle enveloped him, a cold fury started to seep in, overtaking the initial shock. He had invested himself, labored hard, and placed all his dreams and trust into that relationship. Betrayal wasn't merely a violation of trust, it was a devastating strike against everything he stood for, everything he labored to uphold. Each breath felt weighty, his heart constricted, but he comprehended he must rein in his feelings. He couldn't afford to act irrationally, he didn't wish to confront her without thought. Instead, Adam exited the car, maintaining his composure, strode towards the restaurant entrance. Upon entry, he found a secluded table, from which he could observe Laura and her lover, their laughter echoing, seemingly unfettered by any obligation. Her visage, once so familiar yet now alien, pierced him like a sharp knife. The woman he cherished, the woman with whom he had laid out plans and constructed a life, now appeared as a stranger before him, someone he struggled to resonate with. When the waiter approached, Adam directed him to privately deliver a ring, one he had worn since the day they made their pledges the token of their vows. The ring symbolized their bond, yet served as a painful reminder of his faithfulness contrasted by her betrayal. Upon comprehending the peculiar demand, the waiter hesitated but eventually agreed, collecting the ring with a puzzled gaze before delivering it to Laura's table. Adam watched anxiously, each second feeling momentous. He saw the waiter present the ring and witnessed Laura's baffled expression turn into stunned silence. The lover exchanged glances between them, unsure of what was unfolding, but Laura immediately grasped the situation. She knew he knew that their construct was on a fragile precipice. Adam remained patient. Seated in a corner armchair, his composed face concealed the turmoil raging within him. Laura and her lover, bewildered by the returned ring, glanced around, searching for any hint of this being a jest. Finally, Laura's eyes met his. Her breath left her abruptly, as if struck by an unseen force, her complexion shifting while attempting composure in the presence of a man who had been part of many years of her existence. She tottered to her feet, moving slowly, leaving her partner behind, observing her with bewilderment. Adam remained speechless, eyes locked on hers, devoid of any expression. When she halted before him, the air between them seemed thick. Eventually, she spoke, voice quivering. "Why have you come, Anne? This union, what does it imply?" Adam regarded her with a disturbing tranquility, his dark eyes penetrating past her visage, as if he could see beyond her exterior. "You are aware of its meaning, Laura." She attempted to retort, but the words stuck in her throat. He persisted, tone soft yet firm. 15 years, Laura. 15 years I dedicated to you my faith, my affection, my life. And you discard it all. Why? What reason could there possibly be? Laura gulped, averting her eyes, yet he wouldn't let her slip away. "Gaze at me," he commanded. She raised her eyes, lips parted in a silent entreaty for comprehension. "Adam, I have no words left. It's too late for excuses," he interjected, each word echoing his concealed pain. With every ticking second, she seemed to diminish before him, as if Adam's words were dismantling the self-image she had constructed. She reached out to touch his hand, but he recoiled, chilled. "You don't want to hear me, then," she whispered, her voice cracking. He offered a slight, bitter smile. "What am I supposed to listen to, Laura? That this was a mistake. What do you feel remorse for? There's no justification that can undo what you did." He hesitated, his eyes piercing. "But I want you to understand the consequences now." She looked at him, bewildered. "What do you imply?" Adam took a deep breath, his voice more controlled than anticipated. "I believed I grasped the essence of love, Laura. I thought marriage symbolized an indissoluble pledge, but your actions altered everything. Fortunately, before we tied the knot, I had the foresight to safeguard all I'd built." She appeared puzzled. "Adam, what are you hinting at?" He folded his arms, displaying a composed yet destructive expression. "Can you recall our prenuptial agreement?" Her complexion paled. "What are you talking about?" "It was long ago. Why bring it up?" "I remember, Laura, and I hope you do too." Adam observed her responses with unwavering eyes, refusing to look away. Our contract holds a particular provision, one that may have slipped your memory over time, but will now be the only concern for you." She started shaking, and he could see the dread growing in her eyes, as if she fully grasped the magnitude of what was impending. "Adam, could you clarify what you're implying? That can't be genuine." "I'm dead serious now, Laura," he countered, his voice low and chillingly calm. "The agreement stipulates that in case of your infidelity, you forfeit all rights to our shared possessions. The property, the money, the assets, everything. You walk away with nothing." She recoiled, struck by surprise. "That can't be correct." "You're joking, Adam," she protested. "It was a long time ago. We never took it seriously, remember? And now you must face the repercussions." Adam stood firm, resolute. "You were the one who decided to dismantle our marriage, and with that decision, you stand to lose more than just my regard. You stand to lose everything." Laura shook her head, tears welling in her eyes. She tried to speak, struggling to articulate the incomprehensible. "Adam, my confusion was evident. It meant nothing to you. You know I have always loved you. That slip of yours will come at a great cost." You interrupted her. "You thought you could escape this, but it ends now. Tomorrow, you must leave the house. This is your final night here." Your eyes widened, showing desperation and pleading. "You can't do this to me, Adam. I have nowhere else to go. I made a mistake, but it doesn't have to end like this." He looked at her, and for a brief moment, pain reflected in his eyes. Yet he knew there was no turning back. Something within him had been shattered that couldn't be mended. "Laura, I loved you more than I thought I could love anyone, but it's over now. Now, I must confront the reality that I've been deceived, that the partnership we cultivated together was merely an illusion." He fell silent, his eyes steady yet somber. "The choice lies with you," he added curtly. "You'll have to navigate this path on your own." She choked back a sob, tears trickling down her face, knowing he would not alter his decision. Adam rose without another word, departing the restaurant. She remained, gazing at the ring adorning her finger, a symbol of a pledge that now served only as a harsh reminder of my loss. Laura continued to sit in the restaurant, immobilized as she grappled with the aftermath of this turn of events. The surroundings seemed warped, the din of other patrons muffled, the lights, once inviting, now blinding. The lover watched the unfolding scene, still in shock, not fully grasping the gravity of the situation. Laura, however, was certain. Each word Adam spoke felt like a judgment, and she knew his statements were indelible. The ring in her hand felt burdensome, symbolizing shattered pledges and a collapsing future. Struggling to breathe, Laura scanned her surroundings, yearning for any form of solace or consolation that she knew wouldn't be forthcoming from those present. Her partner, uneasy with the situation's intensity, murmured half-hearted apologies while shaking his head. He reached for Laura's hand, but she swiftly withdrew it, as if then perceiving what such a gesture implied and how flimsy the support she yearned from him was. Still in shock, Laura rose from her seat and exited the restaurant. Each footstep weighed heavily upon her, as Adam's words continued to reverberate within her mind, pulverizing any lingering hope. Outside, the chill of the night paled in comparison to the creeping void inside her that caused a shiver to run through her. Laura understood that her home, filled with years of shared memories and built with Adam, was now unattainable for her. Once brimming with potential, the world now appeared constricted, an enclosed realm that echoed her error at every turn. Struggling to process the repercussions of her actions, she ambled through the city, her mind heavy with gloom. With each street she traversed, fragments of the past with Adam resurfaced, unspooling like a tape on rewind, revealing instances of joy when they seemed impervious to any adversity. She recalled every pledge, every discussion about their shared future, how he had been the cornerstone of her existence. The security, the backing, the boundless affection all slipping away from her grasp. After countless hours of aimless wandering, Laura mustered the resolve to revisit the dwelling that, in a few short hours, would no longer be hers. She entered warily, fearful of encountering Adam, but the house remained quiet. Every nook held the sting of memory as she stepped across the threshold for the final time, leaving behind all that was once familiar and soothing. It felt like the walls, pictures in their frames, every item of furniture were silently bidding him farewell. Ascending the stairs to her chamber, she observed some of Adam's possessions had vanished, as if he had already started to disassociate, to scrub clean the vestiges of their shared life. Settled at the bedside, he gazed vacantly into emptiness. I recognized there were no more pleas left to offer, no reasons to rationalize. She pondered over what words she could have uttered or actions taken alternatively, but remorse now enshrouded her inescapably. The dwelling seemed chillier and bleaker, and silence was his solitary confidant. Laura comprehended that aside from forfeiting the tangible backing and steadfastness offered by Adam, she was also surrendering something significantly more precious, a part of herself that she thought complete, trustworthy, cherished alongside him. This internal void was crushing, and she recognized it would take considerable time, if healing ever came, to alleviate the pain. As dawn broke, Laura started packing her possessions. Each item she packed seemed burdened with emotional baggage, a memento now transformed into a goodbye token. The trinkets that had once been mere everyday items, a souvenir from a trip, a book given as a present, a painting inspired by him, now represented a love she had shattered. Packing everything felt endless, and each object placed in the boxes brought back memories of moments shared, as if she was gradually extinguishing each recollection. Adam arrived mid-morning, calm and decisive. She observed him without uttering a word as she, trembling, attempted to express her emotions for the final time. "Adam," she said softly, "I understand that no words I speak can alter my actions. I wrecked what we had, I acknowledge that. But I wanted you to comprehend that this was never about you. It was a loss of myself." Adam scrutinized her without a hint of empathy in his eyes. "Laura," he said sternly, "you destroyed me. Every moment we lived together, every promise we made, it all comes into question because of your actions. There are no excuses that can rectify this. You made your decisions, and now you must bear the consequences." She hung her head, unable to meet his gaze. The silence that ensued was almost unbearable, and Laura felt the increasing weight of physical and emotional separation with each passing second. With everything packed, she eventually departed from the house. Each step felt like a heartrending farewell, and the feeling of desolation was overpowering. Adam stood in the corridor as she departed, understanding that despite the devastation wrought by their circumstances, it was the sole feasible course for both parties. Upon the door's final closure, Adam released a deep sigh, a blend of relief and sorrow. He recognized this was merely the initial phase of a prolonged healing journey, yet he was resolute in his progression. Months have elapsed since Laura exited the house filled with shared memories with Adam. She endeavored to regain her footing, but emptiness was omnipresent, an agonizing presence at every instant. Her efforts to reclaim her past life weighed heavily upon her, just as the sense of loss and regret she had felt since the night Adam presented the ring in the restaurant did. Each recollection of him evoked a keen pain, the burden of a future discarded for an instant's dissatisfaction. Day by day, Laura wrestled with keeping some semblance of equilibrium, but her lack of funds and separation from old friends, who now viewed her as a traitor to the man she'd betrayed, made each day seem like a losing battle. Her financial situation grew precarious without Adam's assistance, and her damaged reputation compelled her to seek temporary employment for survival. Once vibrant paintings that were his ardor and sanctuary now mirrored an irretrievable past. The inspiration that once coursed through them was replaced by sorrow, leaving its mark on the canvases as a symbol of her inner pain. Over time, those few people who still connected with her drifted away, unable to comprehend or forgive Laura's transgression. Adam, however, remained resolute in rebuilding his life. The early months were challenging, the sting of betrayal lingering, but he transformed his pain into self-discovery. Adam immersed himself in his work, forged fresh connections, and gradually established a routine detached from the vestiges of his relationship with Laura. The home they had remodeled together now served as a venue for personal restoration. He systematically erased all traces of Laura, every photo, every memory, altering the ambience to mirror his present self, a man who, albeit hurt, was ready to embrace change. Although Laura's influence on him remained deep, Adam chose not to wallow in resentment. He took up novel pastimes, cultivated genuine friendships, and cautiously allowed himself to accept that he could rebuild his life. In an unexpected interaction, Adam encountered someone who kindled a fresh fascination within him. The dialogue, casual and unassuming, resurrected a feeling of familiarity he believed was irretrievable. Gradually and carefully, he delved into this new prospect, mindful that he had grown stronger and less gullible. While at his workplace, Adam obtained a letter from Laura. He read it with tranquility, as one who has surmounted suffering. In the correspondence, she expressed remorse for her actions again, explaining how her life had dramatically shifted post-divorce and the all-consuming regret that haunted her. The letter was an impassioned plea for absolution, yet Adam read it without any yearning to respond. He comprehended then that his relationship with Laura, though significant, belonged to a past from which he now felt liberated. With a composed action, he filed the letter away and chose to progress, leaving the past behind. Simultaneously, Laura continued her solitary routine, attempting to reconcile with regret and guilt, yet finding the isolation unrelenting. As she observed life unfold around her, she recognized not only the loss of a husband, but also the forfeited chance at a genuine and robust life, something that now appeared elusive. The betrayal left her bereft of all she held dear, as echoes from a bygone era haunted her, evoking memories of blissful times unacknowledged. She who craved novelty and thrill now yearned for nothing more than solace and elusive tranquility that had eluded her since she shattered what was with Adam. In the end, all navigated their unique courses, but in stark contrast. Adam harnessed his resolve to begin anew, constructing a fresh life on robust pillars, while Laura, tormented by remorse, dwelt in the spectral remains of the past she herself demolished. Care to share your thoughts on this narrative? We're eager for your insights on each character's journey. Don't miss out, subscribe to our channel for more riveting tales like this one. And let it be known, we staunchly oppose dishonesty.